Is it? Pretty good. I said, are you ready? Podcast. Okay, so we are live here on the podcast.
Good evening.
Holy fuck. You're using your mic like never before.
I'm practicing good mic'smanship.
Are you like super close to it or something?
Yes.
Yes. I was like, yes. Are you super close to it? Yes. Okay. Well, we got a lot to cover this evening, so let's go ahead and just get started here.
Can't wait to talk about Hoosiers.
I know, baby. So, first of all, we're going into nerd news. Sir?
All right. Ding, ding, ding.
Yep. Do you want to go first?
Sure. But all I have is bad news, unfortunately.
I'm pretty sure that you took the same shit that I was going to say, but unless it's about something else. But go ahead.
My news is that the new Bond movie, well, it's not even new anymore, but the latest Bond movie, No Time to Die, has been delayed again.
Yeah. I don't even give a fuck about that movie at this point.
Well, this is bogus.
Yeah. Who gives a fuck, dude? That was my nerd news as well, but
oh, sorry.
No, I had a feeling that we were both going to have the same thing. Because there's another movie that I was actually going to put down too. The newest Kingsman movie got delayed as well because of fucking all the shit that's going down. But, like, I feel like James Bond, I think this is the only like, the first or second delay for Kingsman. But, like, Bond has been delayed, like, how many times now? This is, like, the third or fourth time they've delayed it.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times. We're now approaching the point where it's a year from when it was supposed to come out.
Right.
Originally.
And who knows how long it was before they actually finished filming it. So it's like, this movie is, yeah, I don't know. My take on it is they're pretty far past the time when they should have just said fuck it and pulled the trigger and actually just released it on fucking, like streaming, like on demand. Because they probably would have made back a shit ton of money on it by now. Just from people that would have been at home and been like, well, fuck, I want to see the new Bond movie. I don't want to be left out. But now, like, when it goes into theater, they're probably going to get a handful of people because the hype will be dead. The only people that'll go see it is, like, really hardcore James Bond people like me and you. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big event whenever a new one comes out because it doesn't happen very often. And, you know, the fact that they just keep delaying and delaying is like the ultimate tease.
I just think they're gonna, like, regret not just putting it on demand, honestly. Because
is it because they want it to be seen in theaters?
I think it's because, like, they still are like, you know, this is a huge event, so we want people to see it in theaters. But to me, it's like, I understand that, but it's well past the point of that. Like, I feel like they should have pulled the trigger. Because by the time they release it in theaters, like I said, only, like, me, you, and a couple other people are even going to give a shit.
Well, also, like, I think most people realize that, like, yeah, it's I guess it's okay to go see movies in theaters, but I think most people like watching them at home more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, going to theaters sucks.
I like the experience of a theater, like being in a theater and getting the experience of like the sound and stuff, but a lot like and all that kind of crap. But like, if you spend enough money, you can kind of get that same thing at home, and you also don't have to deal with like possible assholes that talk during the movie.
Yeah,
and other shit.
Or dim projectors at Regal that they never fix.
Yeah. Actually,
it's disappointing.
Actually, the worst is like when we went to Regal and we sat at the very top, and like for some reason they didn't put the seats in the correct spot. So like, I think we were watching Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2, and I had to like sit Indian style while in the seat the whole time to even see the bottom of the screen. I was like, okay. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think the ultimate joke will be when it does finally get released. I don't think it's gonna be that good.
I think that like
spend all this time and energy, and
yeah, I'm only really looking forward to seeing what's his face in it, the actor that was in Mr. Robot that's playing like the villain,
Rami Malek.
Yeah. I'm kind of really only looking forward to that. Except, well, I mean, I like, what's his face too, Christoph Waltz. But he's almost playing like the fucking, like, Hannibal Lecter fucking, like, Dr. Evil in this, where he's, like, in prison and, like, you know, Bond goes to talk to him in the trailers, you know, so it's like, you know, who knows if he's actually going to be in it for more than 5 seconds. Or if they're going to pull Liam Neeson and be like, check it out, he's in this movie too, and then you go see the movie and it's like, he was in it for like 5 seconds. So, we will see.
Yeah.
But, enough of that. Let's move on to Recommendation Nation.
Recommendation Nation! Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, I'll let you go first again.
All right, well, I got a good one this week. I think at least you'll like it. My recommendation is a movie from 1997 called Running Time. Have you heard of this?
I don't know about that.
Well, it stars Bruce Campbell.
Okay.
And it's a heist movie that takes place in real time. And it's filmed all in one shot.
Did he get caught in real life?
You have to watch the movie to find out.
But the answer is yes, because he's still in prison. I'm like, fuck! You're like, he was caught and he was executed. I'm like, shit! Okay. Yeah, everybody check it out. Running Time, you said, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a cool movie. Like, I think it's super low budget, and I don't think it was ever really released, but we need more movies starring Bruce Campbell.
I agree.
Plus, I like movies that take place in real time.
Yeah.
Always a cool gimmick.
Gimmick. Okay. Well. So my recommendation this week is BioShock 2.
Nice.
Originally, I passed this game up because it came out kind of close to the first one, and I did play it when it first came out, but I only played a little bit of it because it played too similar to the original. And I've been playing it again, and I'll play it after the podcast here on stream. But while that's true in many aspects, I feel like in the year 2021, many years later, I look back wishing there were more BioShock type games in the world and less Call of Duty or open world games with nothing but filler in them. So even though at the time BioShock was a series they kind of were pumping out with BioShock 1 and then BioShock 2 and then BioShock Infinite, I'd rather have a billion BioShock type games than a fucking Call of Duty or FPS or open world game that has nothing but filler in them.
I agree with you on that one.
So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I played it back in the day, and I remember thinking, yeah, it was really similar to the first one, but It's not always a bad thing.
It's kind of I kind of compare it to what was it? Time Splitters, where the first one or the second one was good, but then after that I was okay, this is return investment is diminishing. These games are legit the same shit over and over again. Or
Gears of War, same story.
Gears of War, yeah. what else? There's been a couple other ones like Borderlands to a degree, but okay. So
What's your take on BioShock 3?
Oh, you mean like did they announce a BioShock 3?
Well, there was a third one, right?
Yeah, that one was like BioShock Infinite. That one was like
yeah.
It wasn't really related to like. I mean, it was related to like BioShock 1 and 2 to a degree, but it wasn't like under the sea. It was like up in the sky. So they kind of and they had like different people in charge of it and stuff. It wasn't like Andrew Ryan, but I think it like ended up going into like BioShock like 1 and 2 as far as like, you know, they were like, fuck it, we should do shit underground instead of like in the fucking sky or something. I don't know, or under the water. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was like the same kind of formula and stuff. I feel like my only issue with that is when they made BioShock Infinite, when they first showed it off with like trailers and stuff, it was kind of the first time I remember them ever like doing the thing that they do all the time now in video games, where they show off something that ends up being completely different and not as good as like the finished product. And even though the finished product was still like, I think it got like Game of the Year and it was really, really good, like looking back, what you saw was like not feasible on 360s and PS3s back then. Like top of the line PCs probably could have done that, but like it was kind of like a, you know, proof of concept, but like they didn't tell anybody that it was a proof of concept. Kind of like with Cyberpunk, how like all this shit like they showed back in the day leading up to the game coming out looked so much better than the game actually does now. So
really,
it's kind of one of those like common practices nowadays, which is kind of bullshit, but like back in the day it wasn't as much of a thing, where they would like say, oh, this is what the game's gonna be, and then like you come to get it and you're like, okay. It was still fucking awesome though.
Cool.
But yeah.
All right.
Okay, so this week we actually have a topic that was nominated by Eric, son of Darrell. He used points for this, and he says, this ties into our last episode, Willow. He says, Val Kilmer says he is the best swordsman to ever live in Willow as Mad Mardigan. Who do we think is the best swordsman, swordswoman, swordsperson in high fantasy? And then he added who he thinks sucks. Well, him and Ryan. Ryan, Nate's brother. He-Man and Lion-O suck, and Leonardo from the Turtles was good. Even though I guess they said that like high fantasy doesn't include Leonardo. What do you think?
I think Leonardo wasn't good in Turtles 2.
I don't think anybody was good in Turtles 2.
Because they never actually used their weapons, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I agree.
So, that's one theory blown.
One theory?
Next.
It's not a theory.
Next.
That's a game theory. It's like, what? Fuck those videos. Okay, so yeah, what do you think as far as like, what would you say if you're gonna nominate, or if you're gonna say? I don't know how much fantasy you read or watched.
Wasn't Robin Hood? No, he was bow and arrows. Damn it.
Yeah, Robin Hood sucks anyway.
Why?
Because no, I'm just kidding.
If you had a
I couldn't even come up with like a good reason for it. I just wanted to say, like, you started laughing and I was just like cracking up. You're like, why? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I probably should have thought about this because I knew this question was coming up, but
yeah.
But at the same time, I wanted to kind of like get your take on it too.
Eric spent good points on this. You didn't even think about it. Come on. For whatever reason, the first thing that came to mind was Rob Roy. But that's not really fantasy. But
is that a person?
Yeah, and it was a '90s movie with Liam Neeson. It was kind of like a Braveheart type movie, but it features what some people say is like one of the best sword fights in movies. Between, I think it's him and Tim Roth.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Was it good?
So I'm having trouble kind of remembering. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what other...
Also, I spelled swordsperson completely incorrect.
I've got the answer.
Okay.
Do you come up with anything?
Because
I definitely have the definitive answer.
I don't know. I mean, like, to me, I feel like the two swordsmen from like Princess Bride were pretty legit, and like, you know,
Yeah.
but I don't watch a lot of fantasy movies personally. Like Willow, you know, it was
There aren't that many
nominated,
out
but at the same time, fantasy's never been like my thing. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings and shit, so I don't hate it, but like, you know me, I'm more sci-fi, so that's more.
What about? I mean, Luke Skywalker, obviously, um,
Right? Yeah.
or Darth Maul.
Or what about Blunt Man and Chronic? They used like lightsabers and they were high, and it was fantasy.
Yeah.
High fantasy. Yeah, you go ahead.
You want me to blow your mind with?
Yeah, go ahead. Blow me. Or blow my mind. Please don't blow me.
It's James Bond from Die Another Day when he had
Oh,
that sword fight.
yeah, true.
Madonna.
All,
Greatest swordsman ever.
well, even wasn't there another movie where he fenced? Is that the movie? And it's like there's a
yeah, I think
movie
there
where
was
he
another one.
fences, and it's even better because they actually shot that like real, like, as far as like they were actually knocking over shit and like getting bloody and like, you know what I mean, like getting super
Yeah, that was
sweaty.
Die Another Day.
Yeah.
It started out as fencing, but then it like escalated
Right.
into at one point like he has a broadsword.
Right. Yeah. Or well, never mind. I was gonna say, because like I'm trying to think of anything fantasy. I was gonna say Gomez when he fences, but that's not fantasy.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm thinking like really the only thing like fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, like those guys. I guess I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Have you seen Kroll?
I have not. I've heard of it.
There's no, the main character doesn't have a sword. He has a glaive, which is like
Yeah,
a
the thing that
frisbee
he
made of
throws.
knives.
Yeah, it's like I think didn't what's her face have something like that? Xena had something like that, but it was a circle. It was like
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess like Xena or like Hercules, but Hercules just like fucking could beat people up with his fists. He didn't need a sword.
True.
I'm sure I'm forgetting something, so I apologize.
I think we uncovered the true answer.
The truth. Honestly, Gandalf is probably like the strongest, even if because he had a sword, but he also could do magic. So he didn't even need the sword, though. I guess.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Which I was like, why did he have a sword? He could just fucking blow people away with a fucking magic spell. I was kind of, guess like a swag move. Be like, oh, I can also fight, but not really.
Well, he could beat people up with his staff. He uses it like a
Right! Especially on hobbits, because they're like little baseballs. Okay, so let's move over to the weekly topic. So, Matt, what is your favorite sports film? You're like,
have to go Hoosiers.
God damn it! I knew you were gonna say that.
Well, I have a question for you this week.
Oh shit! You like, how long do you think I'm gonna keep answering you stupid questions? I'm like,
You like to shoot hoops?
do I like to shoot hoops?
Yeah.
I used to back in the day, kind of, but I haven't really gone out and done it in a long time.
Well, no time like the present to get back on the horse.
It's true. I could go out there and start.
All right.
I should go out there and go hard in the paint.
I'll see you on the court.
You'll whoop my ass. We'll play a game of horse. We'll never even get to H. Oh man!
But I thought you might ask my favorite sports movie.
Nice.
And I think it's probably Any Given Sunday.
Nice.
pick.
Okay. I think Trav has that DVD here. Cadet, the person nominated Hoosiers this week. Yeah, he's big into sports movies and actually played sports for
But
a while.
Hoosiers is right up there, honestly. I think Hoosiers is really good.
I've actually never seen this movie fully until this time.
Oh, really? Nice.
And
What do you think?
I loved it. I thought this was like
Oh, nice.
very high on my list of, you know, so like sports movies are very like, I feel like this is like not like the earliest sports movie, but it felt very like early, even though it was, because it was filmed in 86, but it covers loosely the like series of events that happened in 1954. So it has an old school feel to it because of that. I feel like an even older school feel.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I liked it a lot. There was never, like, to me personally, it wasn't like Willow where there were parts they should have cut out. Like, I think it was paced very well, and I think it was also because anytime Gene Hackman was on screen, it was like a pleasure to fucking watch this movie for me.
Definitely. And that's pretty much true of any movie with Gene Hackman.
Yeah. Gene Hackman, I was just like, to me, he'll always be fucking Lex Luthor. Like, even though they made Lex Luthor, like, stupid. Not stupid, but they made him, like... His plans were stupid as far as, like, wanting more land. But, like... He played a good, like evil genius kind of thing. So...
Oh, yeah.
Even in this movie, there's parts where you can kind of see his, like... Not, like, evilness, but, like... you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't take shit.
Well, that's the sign of a good actor.
Yeah.
Because he can pull anything off. He can be, like, the most evil character in the movie, or, like, the most, like, lovely.
Yeah, true. Yes, okay, so... Top sports films in no particular order. I put in particular order, but I meant no. Hoosiers, Space Jam, Karate.
No. Space Jam sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Because it's not good.
Damn. Okay, we'll keep going here. Karate Kid and Cobra Kai.
Nice.
Rocky.
Rocky's the best. That's gotta be number one.
You got anything against Rocky? Does that movie suck?
No.
Okay. Happy Gilmore.
No, just Space Jam.
Space Dream.
I dreamed that movie was good.
That time that you fucking I said Space Jam and you were like, "Do not send in squirrel bones. I am deadly serious." Happy Gilmore, Rookie of the Year, The Wrestler, Mighty Ducks, The Sandlot, and of course, number one, Speed Racer.
Picturing an ape spinning around on a steering wheel.
True. Now, honestly, I feel like maybe next week, or I don't know. How long would this even take for me to get into like why you don't like Space Jam? Because I don't. That's not my favorite movie of all time, obviously. But I thought it was like
dumbing down, like it's made for babies. When's the last time you saw it? Like, it's not good.
I mean, it's an animated film with Michael Jordan in it, so I guess it depends on whether or not you like cartoon films.
Doesn't matter. Not good.
Damn, son. I think this is like the first movie I've ever heard you say you didn't like on this podcast. And it's like so it's so random too.
Sounds good on
you like fucking Baby's Day Out, but you don't like fucking Space Jam?
Baby's Day Out's a hilarious comedy.
Dude, that movie sucks.
I guarantee there's not one laugh in Space Jam. If you go back and watch it, you won't laugh once. If you watch Baby's Day Out, you'll be rolling on the floor, crying tears of joy because it's so good.
Because it's such a shitty movie.
What? How dare you, sir?
That looks like this podcast
I don't want to hear anything bad about Baby Bink.
Hope he's dead.
Good lord.
How does it feel to be shit on? Okay, on to Hoosiers. Okay, so Hoosiers was released... actually, apparently, I didn't know this, but Hoosiers was released in some countries as Best Shot. Did you know that?
Well, yeah. Well, because people outside of the U.S. don't know what Hoosiers means. Right?
I mean, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, I think...
I don't know, like, Kroll doesn't mean anything until you see the movie.
That's true, but I think that's the reason why it had some alternate titles.
Whatever, dude.
But there was another alternate title, too. Did you know that?
Gene Hackman's Day Out.
Coach Kid Puncher.
God damn it! Baby Bink's realization. 1986 American sports film written by Angelo Pizzo, which I thought was pizza, and directed by David Anspaugh. in his feature directorial debut. So, it tells the story of a small-town Indiana high school basketball team, and that's as far as I will go, because I just realized it fucking ruins the whole thing here. We will ruin the movie, but we'll do it in our own time.
We won't ruin it.
We'll splew in it. Okay, so as usual, I'll just read off my notes, and you will interject as need be with your notes or comments, sir.
Cool.
So, Hoosiers in red and yellow letters. That was my first note. This is off to a great start. Gene Hackman.
You'll get that kind of hard-hitting analysis here. Buddy shot.
I'm like Space Jam for life, and you're like, tonight, you will see a man murdered for his crimes against Baby Bink. And I'm like, ah! Like getting fucking immolated. Gene Hackman and Dennis Hopper. I put, this is going to be good. And I was right. Love the intro music theme. It was very legit.
Yeah, the score is awesome in this movie because it's a mix of like classical, like orchestra, music and synthesizer.
Yeah, there's actually. When we get to that,
It was nominated for an Oscar.
Did it win Oscar?
No,
Damn.
It didn't win Oscar.
Damn. Lex Luthor is driving to Smallville to go kill Clark Kent. I wrote.
I did miss.
Whoop.
I missed the opening text crawl because it's been a few weeks where we had those, and now.
Oh yeah, I mean like.
We should have had like location Indiana, number of basketballs 50,000.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, we went from the most unneeded text crawl in fucking Outland to a little bit of unneeded text crawl in Willow to fucking this movie that had none. Because you don't need that kind of bullshit in a fucking movie. Just fucking make a good movie. So, guy's name, like I already said, guy's name in credits is Angelo Pizzo. I thought it was Pizza. The only thing it says is Indiana 1951, which is like, I feel like that's appropriate. That's fine, you know?
Yeah, did you also notice that Gene Hackman was drinking like a mug of coffee while driving? Mm-hmm. That's got bad idea written all over it.
Whatever, dude. I'm sure he fucking won't be able to sue.
Everywhere.
He won't be able to sue anybody. His fucking balls will burn away.
Well, yeah, he should sue himself for stupidity.
He should sue himself for fucking dying. Okay, so for the next note I have is, who's this lady? She's a bitch. To Gene Hackman, saying, I thought you were supposed to be younger. I was like, fuck her.
What'd you think of her character? What's her name? I forget the actress.
I don't know.
Barbara Hershey.
I absolutely hated her ass until like later on in the movie.
She's a weird character.
Yeah.
Because pretty much through the whole thing, she's like...
she's a complete bitch to Gene Hackman for no reason, and he doesn't... Yeah. He's not like ever mean to anybody in the movie for the most part. And even when he is, it's like super warranted. You know, like, so like she comes out of the gate being a total asshole to him, like, for pretty much no reason. I mean, like, she has a reason for protecting one of the kids, but like he literally steps onto the fucking end of the school and she's like an asshole to him. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, it takes her a long time to warm up to him, like the entire movie.
Which, like, makes zero sense to me, because there is a part later where she uncovers like something that he did that was pretty bad, but she didn't know about it before then. So like she's legit just an asshole to him for no reason. Gene Hackman's name is Norman Dale. Okay, so he's on a farm. So I'm like, this movie, Gene Hackman is Superman, and he even talked to someone about Jimmy, so maybe it's his best pal, cub reporter Jimmy Olsen. It was not Jimmy Olsen. Okay. So Cletus, Gene Hackman's friend, says, I think this is going to work out this time. And Gene Hackman says, it's got to work out this time or that's it for good. I'm thinking, what does that mean? Is he going to go fucking kill himself and blow his head off?
here's where there's a couple super weird things that happen in this movie. And when he walks into this guy's office,
the guy's on the floor.
Yeah, he's sitting like crisscross-legged on the floor, like directly.
Maybe he was trying to summon a demon or some shit.
Yeah, it was creepy as hell. But the creepiest part is Gene Hackman's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Floating." It's like, what?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to bring that up, so I didn't write a note about it.
Terrified.
I don't know. I mean, there's stuff that comes out later in this movie where he's like has heart issues, but I don't know if like I had a heart issue and I was like I needed to like relax, I wouldn't just sit on the floor. I'd either sit in my chair or I'd lay down on the floor.
I'm gonna have nightmares thinking about that scene. But we'll get to it. But there's a line of dialogue in this movie that's one of the most outrageously bad lines
in any movie
ever.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to it.
So there's all these guys at a barber shop asking Gene Hackman questions about his prior experience coaching basketball, and there's so many people smoking in the scene. I think that you can literally can't like it's like there's a fog in the fucking frame.
Yeah, that scene and like some of the early scenes, like were stressing me out big time, because Gene Hackman was pretty much everyone is like out to get him instantly, like in the entire town. It's almost like they're a cult who like will try to make him do things their way.
Right.
And he has to like fight against that. But then I realized that this movie is basically just a remake of Outland,
except for good.
You have a guy like who's been disgraced in the past go into a new.
That is true. Yeah.
And, like, try to bring things into shape and like fight against all the system that's in place.
That is true.
But I did like how Gene Hackman's character handled that scene. He's like, "All right, talk to you guys later," and just leaves. It's like the only possible way to win that scene.
Yeah. So they're saying like all these things to Gene Hackman, and they're bragging about how like last year they got like 15 or something or whatever, and they got all their boys back. And I'm like, did like one of them get fucking killed or something? Like, what happened? I thought that was kind of weird, but what they meant, I think, was that like one of them quit the team after the fact or something. So here we go. Rant time, profanity ahead. These guys don't know a damn thing about basketball, but like, and their like teams like sucks dick, and they're ripping on like Gene Hackman because he served his fucking country like a American hero, and they think he can't coach basketball because he's been on the water. And I don't think they understand as a coach, you don't have to fucking play the game with your players. You just tell them what to do and they fucking do it. Like, he doesn't have to get on the fucking court and, like, actually make a shot. Like, I don't understand these people. It's like, you do know that people with experience are the people that should be the fucking coach, right? You don't want, like, the players to be 50 years old and the coach to be 10. Like,
I'd watch that movie.
Like, Baby Slammers. Or wait, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Could be the sequel to Baby's Day Out. Baby
true.
Slammers.
Jimmy Chipwood. So yeah. Last night those boys weren't generous with Gene Hackman. It was horrible. They talked ill of him. It was just I just was pissed, says Barbara Hershey's character. His name is Maura Fleener. Fuck this lady was my next note. Gene Hackman thought they were going to be friends. I love Gene Hackman's laugh. It's just like Lex Luthor. They start talking about Jimmy, and as they're walking towards the school, a kid walks by and his cheeks are redder than a baboon's ass. So,
I didn't notice that, but I'm going to have to go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
See those rosies.
Gene Hackman lays down the law with this awesome speech. So, this guy is like, I guess, been like the interim coach while like they've pretty much waited for a new coach since the old coach like died, and like I guess Gene Hackman is coming in. And he says like, first of all, let's get real friendly here. My name's Norm, and secondly, your coaching days are over. And then, like, as soon as he says that, all the players instantly hear that and stop what they're doing and, like, look over at, like, Gene Hackman. And this is, like, probably... Well, this isn't my favorite thing in this movie, but it had me, like, scratching my head and I was kind of cracking up. So, like, this guy is, like, you know, obviously hurt and pissed because, like, Gene Hackman actually stood up for himself. And he says, like, look, mister, there's two kinds of dumb. A guy that gets naked and runs out in the snow and barks at the moon, and a guy that does the same thing in my living room. And I said, he says, first, one doesn't matter. Second one, you're sort of forced to deal with. And I said, first of all, a guy that gets naked and runs out in the snow and barks at the moon can't do it in someone's fucking living room. Secondly...
There's no snow indoors.
Right. Secondly, that's not dumb, that's insanity or some sort of mental illness. Third, how is someone running out into the snow butt naked and barking at him considered not mattering? I'm like, now dumb is giving this analogy to Gene Hackman in this film.
Oh.
Yeah, so fuck that guy.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah, that guy was terrifying.
I had to actually turn on...
Pretty much the whole town.
I had to turn on the subtitles for this part, though, because like, the guy says, I don't know what Cletus was thinking dragging your tired old bones in here. And I'm like, this guy looks older than fucking Gene Hackman. What the fuck is he talking about? He's like fucking Mushmouth. And then he says, fact is, mister, you start screwing up this team, I'll personally hide-strap your ass to a pine rail and send you to up the Monone line. And I'm like, huh? What the fuck are you talking about?
Take basketball seriously in Indiana.
Yeah, well, that's the problem is, like, if this team was actually good and been doing kick-ass shit, I could understand, but, like, their record, they weren't, like, the champs or anything. So, like, everybody was flipping out and shit, and then, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, stay fucking average. I'm like, okay. So the next thing is they're doing, like, a good old-fashioned sports montage, and Gene Hackman tells one of the players to wipe that smile off his face, and he doesn't for, like, rest of the scene, and he's still smiling. So I don't know. I guess they maybe...
Bad coaching.
Or bad acting by that kid. So one of the earlier kids that walked out comes back with his dad, pretty much making him apologize for being an idiot. And there's, like, a bunch of guys from the barbershop earlier that were, like, jumping down Gene Hackman's throat and, like, asking how he's going to coach and a bunch of other crap. It says, like, Gene Hackman's like, practice is closed to outsiders. And even the sheriff is there. And the dad of the guy that came back is like, you heard him, everybody get the fuck out of here. And he, like, pretty much, like, I guess, like, even tells the sheriff to get out. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, he was such, like, I guess, like, a badass that he was just, like, told the law to get the fuck out of the place. I was like, okay. Then again, I guess, I don't know, the law shouldn't be in there. I love the small town setting. Dennis Hopper as Shooter is, like, drunk as fuck.
Yeah. Which is pretty appropriate because he had real life, like, alcohol and drug problems.
It was, like, sad. I don't want him coaching in Hickory. He's 50. I'm like, dude, mind your own fucking business. This lady, excuse my language, is a fucking cunt.
Good lord, man.
Also, this part where, like, he's giving, like, they're out there, like, presenting the team, and, like, then, like, people are like, we want Jimmy. We want Jimmy. We want Jimmy. We want Jimmy. And I'm like, and he's just like, this is your
pep rally.
He's like, this is your fucking team. So fuck, you know, like, you guys are ungrateful bastards. Like,
what'd you think of that sweet pep rally?
It was fine. It was legit, I guess. I mean, it was, the whole town was there. What'd you think of it?
They didn't even they didn't play any jock jams.
How
can you have a pep rally without jock jams?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Y'all ready for this?
Pastor or priest or reverend or rabbi, not rabbi, says a prayer before the game, and Gene Hackman doesn't give a shit, and he's, like, putting on his jacket, and as soon as, like, they finish the prayer, they're like, okay, let's go, and they almost, like, run down this old dude. I was like,
Yeah. What do you think of like prayer being associated with sports? That was my note.
I think that if people want to like use that as fuel to like help them stay focused, I think it's like totally fine. I think that like it's not for everybody, and it's definitely not something that like it's kind of like praying, I guess, before a meal if somebody were to do that, or like as kind of almost like a good luck kind of thing. So, if people feel, I mean, obviously there was one person on the team that was actually legit like religious, like the one guy that like his, I guess,
Keeps
like
praying after.
right, and his dad like I guess was like told in a vision by God to like drive the team around and stuff. So like I think it's definitely not for everybody. I don't think like it's necessarily something that should be enforced. Just like you shouldn't be forced to like not be able to practice your religion. I think it's one of those things where if somebody wants to pray, they should, or if like I see though in sports it's more so it's less of like a religion thing though, and it's become more of like let's keep this tradition up, kind of like wearing a certain like jersey or like dirty socks throughout the whole like season, like that are lucky to like instill some sort of like I don't know, like outside supernatural influence on the game to maybe help the players.
Yeah, and it just made me think of the great Ford Carlin bit where he's like, people always talk about God when they win, never mention him when they lose.
Yeah.
The good Lord made the ball. He tripped me up on the line of scrimmage.
People generally don't talk about like bad luck. Well, depending. I think it's one of those things where like if something bad were to happen and like me and you were like really really like say something were to happen and affected both of us, and we were like before that we were to say oh blah 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 and we had like this ritual we did and something horrible happened anyway, we would, and if we were so intent on the ritual that we did as far as like whether it be a lucky jersey or praying or whatever, we would probably do one of two things. We would probably look at that and be like, well, maybe it's not so lucky, or like stop wearing the jersey or stop praying for that reason, or we would find any other reason to blame it on something else that might have gone wrong. You know what I mean? So it's like, anyway.
We skip past the line that I had to mention.
Oh shit! Sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
I think did you catch like this? This is mind-boggling. So Gene Hackman and Barbara Hershey are talking about like she's complaining about how people take basketball too seriously in the town.
Yeah, this is because this is actually like I think you're talking about when the second time they're kind of like he's outside of his classroom after school, and she's outside of her classroom, and as he's like I guess going up the stairs and about to go into his classroom, this is like their I think third confrontation. And this is when she like really kind of like lays into him and is like an asshole, like pretty bad.
But did you catch this line that Gene Hackman says?
I don't remember what it is. Go ahead and tell me.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
He says,
"Baby Stay Out" is a horse movie, and Space Jam sucks. We're like, no.
Here's the actual line.
Okay.
And this is insane. He says, "Most people would kill to be treated like a god, just for a few moments."
Honestly,
like,
no, I do remember that, and honestly, I remember when he said that because she says like in this town he's like treated like a royalty or a god or something like that. But when he said that reminded me of him as Lex Luthor with Superman and how like he fucking hates Superman because he's like a god pretty much. But I remember I didn't write this down, but I thought to myself like, is he...
That's an insane line.
I was like, is he playing Lex Luthor in this movie? Like, at this point? He's like, most people would give anything to be a god for just 15 minutes.
No. Most people would kill.
Yes.
So he's saying that most people, like the majority of people in the world, would commit murder to be treated like a god just for a few moments, I don't believe that at all.
I think you give too much credit to the human race.
You're like, I'm coming over to kill you now, and I'll become a god.
I think everybody would do it, Matt.
Everyone would kill. Right?
It's just a line of people killing each other.
My grandma, R.I.P., would commit murder to be treated like I don't even think I'd want to be treated like a god and feel uncomfortable.
How much god treating can you get in 15 minutes, though? I guess it depends.
But yeah, that's crazy.
What if like you were treated like a god and then somebody like shot you and then they were like, "Oh shit, you're not a god." They would know you were.
Then whoever I killed would be really upset.
I guess of course they would be upset. I don't think anybody out there is like, "Yeah, fucking kill me." He's like 15 minutes for you, brother. I guess I didn't think about it all that much, honestly, like that line, but because to me, like when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is like, I think they could have phrased that better because, like,
yeah,
in the
that's a little extreme, you think?
Not really. Wouldn't you kill somebody to be a god for 15 minutes?
Most people would slaughter another human.
Well, the funny thing is, I could see like. If like I wouldn't do it, but like I could see that him being like people would kill to be a god forever.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's not even that. It's most people would like kill somebody to be treated, not to be a god, but to be treated like one.
Right.
Not forever.
Just
for 15 minutes. Or, yeah, a few minutes.
What? I can't get over it.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that, how weird that line is. It's like one of those things where, like, obviously he's talking about, I think, like, especially in, like, a small town. But, like, to me, it's like, the kind of people that were in that small town would not... I feel like they were pretty, like, as much as how weird they were about basketball... They were pretty wholesome, it seemed like, for the most part. Yeah. So, like, they probably never thought about killing anything but, like, an animal for food, so... Anyway.
Alright, sorry.
No, you're fine. That's funny. So,
whoever wrote that in the script...
It's the guy that wrote Baby's Day Out in Space Jam.
Don't use those two in the same sentence.
Writer89 says, my girlfriend grew up in the town this movie is set in. It wouldn't surprise me if anyone from there would kill someone to be a god for a few minutes.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, damn.
I think I've just been...
Maybe Gene Hackman saw a murder happen while he was filming. So the
police were too busy at the high school basketball practice than being out on the streets.
Oh, that's funny. So the locals from the sidelines are giving like the worst freaking calls. One of the kids was at the half court and he like said, "Shoot the ball." I'm like, huh? Like, okay. Good job. Good luck with that. The freaking sheriff comes in and he's like, "What's going on? You're trying to screw us here." And like Gene Hackman tells him to get out and he starts flipping out. He says, "How many times are we gonna pass before we score?" And they're like, 4, like field mouse voices, and he's like, 4. And I was like, Jesus.
It's not messing around.
80s music montage for a 50s movie. So one of the kids is a hotshot and like doesn't listen to Gene Hackman's advice, and even though he's like making baskets, he tells him to come out and switch out, and the kid is on the bench. Then the kid that he like switches out ends up causing a foul, and so the kid that was hot shotting before just started going back on the floor, and he's like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "We need 5 people." So he just like sits down, and now he told the referee that his team is on the field, or I mean the court, and so they only have 4 players, and it cuts to a shot of like Dennis Hopper And he's like smiling and like shaking his head like, oh, dang, you guy, ha ha ha. And I was like, what the fuck? It was like the weirdest shot. Because everybody else was like, they cut to people and like, they're like, what the heck is going on? And like Dennis Hopper's like, ha ha ha. And I was like, what?
Shooter knows.
I guess.
Shooter knows what's
Shooter knows alcohol.
Do you think that was a good move by the coach to do that?
I think it was like, regardless of if it was like a good like play like game move, it was a good move to like instill stuff into his like players to be like, you know, what I say goes, and like you shouldn't just be like hot shotting the whole time, and like, you know what I mean, like it to instill team values at the very beginning before it gets out of hand. And like one guy tries to take the entire game and it ends up fucking them because they don't try to like develop themselves and they just try to bank it all on one guy, and that might not work because if the whole team goes after one guy, then like, you know what I mean, like,
all right.
You're like, all right, he's dead.
So you're saying a good coach has to be a dictator? All right.
Yeah.
I see how.
Just like Bob Huggins and
Exactly.
Bobby Knight.
And ironically, Bob Huggins just kicked the best player on the team off the team.
Well, if he was being a bastard, he deserved it.
He wasn't hustling, even though he was the most like their best player. He wasn't playing hard enough, and he's gone.
He wasn't hustling. I'm only going to say this one time. All of you have the weekend to think about whether or not you want to be on this team or not under the following conditions. What I say when it comes to this basketball team is the law. Absolutely and without discussion.
I love that.
A perfect speech.
That's the most interesting thing about this movie is like what the decisions that he makes to like turn the team around.
Yes.
Because pretty much by the end of the movie, all that stuff that he's saying and doing, like he does the opposite of.
Right.
But he had to win their respect and like, you know, win their trust.
I think
in order to
also getting them in the frame of mind of like, you know, it's a team and like you have to work hard and all this other stuff so that when like they have the fundamentals in place so that like they can, you know, so if he tries to do other things like, you know, give this certain person the ball a bunch or whatever, then it's like they're not just gonna feel like he's screwing them over for one particular person. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
So he gets invited to the lady that doesn't like him's house by the lady's mom, and so they're like doing some crap with him. Like, I don't know what they are, like I guess like corn stalks or something. And they talk about this and that, and so like the next scene, I'm led to believe that it's night because it's like there's cricket chirpings. They literally just have like a day shot with clouds and dark a little bit. And the reason why I know this is because the very next scene after that, Gene Hackman is like grooming himself in the mirror outside and it's dark. So, day for night shot. Good stuff.
Nice. I didn't notice it.
Always love it.
Good catch.
Dennis Hopper is dressed like Jack the Ripper or something in this scene when he like goes to see Gene Hackman for the first time. I was like, he's got like a fucking weird ass top hat that's like brown and like a fucking like coat. I'm like, okay, is he gonna fucking slit somebody's throat?
Yeah, it's almost like a hobo outfit.
Right, he just needs like a red nose and like a fucking like his coat needs patches on it and like a stick with like a fucking handkerchief on it.
Yeah.
So these guys play like animals. Dennis Hopper's like drunker than poop again. These players are playing like gorillas. It was flagrant bullshit. Also, I like this scene because like, I think this is the scene where like he's like, you guys are playing like gorillas, and like one of the guys like, what'd you call me? Did you call me a gorilla? And he's like, I did. And like he starts to go for Gene Hackman, and like the dude that like was hot shotting earlier that he like kind of gets on his case about, like finally like actually sticks up for Gene Hackman, and he fucking punches the guy in the face. And he was just like, I got him good, coach. And he's like, you did. And I was like, dude,
that was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's a lot of like flagrant, like unbiased ref shit in this, or biased ref shit in this movie. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like, they're almost always for the other team, because they're almost always, I think, like, hometown refs. So it's like...
Half this movie is Gene Hackman complaining to the refs and they get thrown out.
Right! Okay, Nickel 51013 says, I grew up in the town this movie was based on. They have a museum in the town dedicated to the 54 state champs. Hell yeah, man.
Wow, that's cool.
Gene Hackman in it, I bet. Maybe he does like a narration. So Gene Hackman's older friend that hired him to be the basketball coach, Cletus, is having a heart problem, so he can't go to any more basketball games. And I had to turn on the subtitles for this scene because for the life of me I couldn't understand what his friend Cletus was saying. Some of the time there's like a part where he's saying like you're gonna have to be on your own. Without the subtitle, it just sounded like garbled nothing. And he says, you know, I want to see you up on your feet, like Gene Hackman says, all I want is to see you back up and stuff, and okay. And his reply is, you can count on it, with the subtitles on, but it sounded like he said, you Conacy. And I was like, so I had to turn the subtitles on. I was like, dude, that sounded nothing like you can count on it. So I was just like, you know, hats off to like, hats off to people that like do subtitles, because without that I would be like, what the fuck did he say? Dennis Hopper is an alcoholic in this movie, and Gene Hackman goes to recruit him as his assistant, and he says, you have to be on time for the practices, sit on the bench with me during the games, and you have to wear a shirt and tie, and you can't drink, and you have to be sober. And he says, you're embarrassing your son. And he like just starts crying, and it's pretty emotional. Like, I was pretty much like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, what did you think of Dennis Hopper in this movie?
Dude, I don't give a fuck what movie he's in. Dennis Hopper is fucking awesome. He's awesome in this movie.
No doubt.
Dennis Hopper and Gene Hackman.
He was nominated for an Oscar.
For this movie?
Yep.
Damn, he deserves it. Did he get it?
Nope.
Dude, bullshit.
But I agree, and especially in this movie, like, pretty much any time he's on the screen, like, I'm almost in tears, because like,
yeah,
such a powerful like performance.
Yeah, I agree. I also like how, like, spoiler alert, like in this movie they kind of treat him as an alcoholic, like once Gene Hackman starts getting involved, they actually start treating it like a disease, and he actually gets put in like the hospital to like dry out and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like Gene Hackman sees it as that way, and like before that people were just like, he's a fucking disgrace, you know, he's sick. And like, you see where he was living though, he lives like in a fucking like shack almost with like some dogs. And his wife lives in an actual house, and same thing with his son. And I'm like, dude, this is like the saddest shit ever. Like, this man needs help. He doesn't need like, you know, scorn and like ridicule. He needs legit help. He has a disease, like. But of course, you know, he's lucky, I guess he got the help he did, because like back then, like if you were an alcoholic, you were either like drunk yourself to death, or like you might have got killed, because fucking people were just, you know, especially in a small town like that. Now
my next question is, who's the better shooter, Dennis Hopper or Shooter?
Well, Dennis Hopper's the better actor, but Shooter McGavin is the better villain. Because Dennis Hopper is not really a villain in this movie. I mean, I guess he kind of is. I feel like he's the closest thing there is to a villain in this movie. He's like, and not in the way that
people are villains, dude.
No, okay, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Actually, no, the closest thing to a villain this movie has is Barbara Hershey. Never mind, I'm wrong. No, I think the person that plays Shooter McGavin actually is a good actor, but like Dennis Hopper is a better fucking actor.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like the guy that plays Shooter McGavin, he's been in like a couple movies, and like he's been on Home Improvement like for one episode. So.
Yeah, I wish he was in more stuff.
I
think Shooter McGavin was like one of the greatest characters ever.
Oh yeah, he was legit, dude. I guess it said. Nicole says, I'm sure they have one of the movie posters in there. Don't think they have the budget for Gene Hackman. So, damn.
What?
Dennis Hopper is looking like King Koopa from Super Mario Brothers in his suit, or as his character from Land of the Dead.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd mention Bowser at some point.
Hell yeah, we should make it that should be our thing. We should make a fucking a thing to mention Bowser in every review somehow. Probably should have said that off screen. Maybe it's Maybelline. Okay, so this bitch in town wants to kick Gene Hackman. Or wait, no, hold on. Oh, no, okay, wait. So the bitches in town want to kick out Gene Hackman. My notes, Jesus Christ. As the coach, they want to get him out of the town. And they don't know anything, and they're a bunch of ingrates, and their team was crap before. Dude, I was super fucking heated. Damn. They're going to have a vote on Saturday. Gene Hackman's a regular. Bobby Knight over here getting ejected from games left and right. Or maybe not Bobby Knight. Maybe it was Bob. Did Bob Huggins or Bobby Knight get thrown out of games a lot?
They both did.
Okay. I thought so. So it comes out that Gene Hackman physically assaulted one of his players in like college. I assume it's college because he's coached college before, like 10 years before. I said I wonder why. Did Bob Huggins didn't Bob Huggins and Bobby Knight both hit a kid at one point, or no?
No, I don't think either. I know Huggins has never hit any kids.
I thought Bobby Knight did.
He might have. I can't remember. But Bob Knight would psychologically torture his team. He put tampons in one of his players' lockers after he had a bad game.
Jesus.
Just stuff like that.
God.
But one of Bob Huggins' players did once punch a police horse. So.
Like Mongo style in fucking Blazing Saddles. So the lady that doesn't like Gene Hackman goes up in front of, with a piece of paper. So we skipped over a scene where, I guess I said it, it comes out that Gene Hackman physically assaulted one of his players. It's during a scene where he goes on a walk with this lady, and they actually start to become, a lot closer and stuff. And I guess she did some research and found out that he hit this kid in college, and she wrote it down on a piece of paper, and he's like, I can't explain that. He's like, I see it happen over in my mind, and he pretty much, you can tell he's remorseful for it, and he wishes he'd never done it, and he's like, my career was over in an instant, and but he can't explain why he even did it, and he says the thing that sucks is the kid was an awesome, a nice kid too. It's not the kid was a bastard or anything. I guess he just couldn't stand insubordination or something and fucking hit him in the fucking face or some shit. So
he should have gone all the way and killed him just to become
a god for 15 minutes. Or not a god, but be treated like one. Maybe that's why he said that. Maybe he was gonna kill the kid, but they stopped him. And he's like, fuck, they didn't treat me like a fucking god. No. But so she has this piece of paper that you see in the scene. The next scene when they go up, she's like, everyone's voting, and she says she pulls out this piece of paper and that she had earlier from the article, and she's like, I think it's fair that I tell the truth. And you think she's gonna say, he hit this kid, because if she did, obviously they fucking want to kick him the fuck out. But instead says, I think it would be a big mistake to let Coach Normdale go. So, which I think in the end didn't have any real, it didn't have any sway.
No, they were still gonna throw him out.
Yeah, because what happens is Jimmy shows up and says, I think it's time for me to play again, and the bastard from earlier that gave a threat to Gene Hackman about saying something about somebody running out in the snow naked, says now that he's gone, he wants to play. And Jimmy says,
I told you.
Yeah, and he's just also that guy's fucking Steve Harvey. He's got fucking horse teeth. But anyway, he says I'll only play if the coach stays. If he goes, I go. And the guy that threatened him earlier, I threatened Hackman earlier. Says, "Well, it's 68-40, so the coach is gone." And like some old lady gets up and says, "I say we should vote again." And this is like the most fucking like, speak of fucking stop the steal. This is like the most flagrant fucking voting overturning I've ever seen in my fucking life. Because so they do a revote, but they don't do it how they did it before, where like they write down who should, like, if he should stay or go. One of the guys says, "Who's in favor of him staying, say yes," and people yell yes and raise their hands. It's like, who wants a peanut butter and jelly and who doesn't? And like, who wants him to fucking leave, say nay. And it's like impossible to tell who actually fucking would have won there. And then, like, the guy just rips up the votes and says, "Well, the coach is staying." And I'm like, dude, that's like a total fucking...
And everyone's like, yay!
Except for one fucking old dude that, like, in the background is like, oh. It's like, heh. Yeah, so now they're kicking ass and taking names and freaking, taking names and freaking during this music montage. I could have sworn I heard this song before, so now we're on a streak of movies that have iconic music. Okay, yeah, this is like the movie's theme or whatever that's playing at this point. Okay. Sorry, that note didn't really make sense at first. But yeah, he's like, the music they're playing is like awesome. Dennis Hopper looks like he's constantly hungover, and all these shots he's got like a headache or something. So I was kind of like, are you drinking like right before the game, or like, or not right before the game, but like,
yeah, he was like detoxing.
Yeah,
and he was like messed up.
Yeah. So the next scene is Gene Hackman drowning the fuck out of Dennis Hopper, trying to get him sober. And Dennis Hopper says, "Okay, but you got to give me your word you won't get yourself kicked out of no games." And he says, "Scout's honor." So guess what happens in the next fucking scene? There's a foul that seems bullcrap, and Gene Hackman is like, "Oh, I just want to discuss it with him real quick. No big deal." And he's like, "What the fuck? Did you have pigeon shit in your eyes?" And he like gets himself, like, the guy's just like not gonna kick him out, and he's like, "Kick me out." And he's like,
"Throw me out."
Yeah, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Dude, throw me out of the fucking game." And he's just like, "Okay, you're out of here." And Gene Hackman's like, "Oh no, fuck, not again." And he goes over to like Dennis Hopper, and he's like, "Well, I've done it again." And he pretty much did this so like Dennis Hopper's character could have all the responsibility and actually have trust put in him. And like, I almost started crying when they like won that game, because Dennis Hopper really came through. Like, and as like, yeah, like I was just like, holy shit, dude. Like, it was pretty legit.
Stuff.
Yeah. But in the next fucking scene, Dennis Hopper comes stumbling into the next game, and he's drunk as shit, because it's like, I think like the sectional finals, because there's like, you know, a bunch of games in this movie, and like and he like stumbles out, and everyone can hear what he's saying because he gets silent, and it's like really bad. Like, so it's like they're showing slow motion shots of his son, and it's like one of them he like moans, and it's really weird. He's like, "Oh." But like he starts to get like and then after Dennis Hopper is shown being drunk in front of his son starts to get like really aggressive in the game, and Gene Hackman is like horrified. Like in one of the shots, he's like, "Hurr." So a dude fouls one of the players going up for a shot, and Dennis Hopper's son straight up punches him in the face, and it leads to a fight and an altercation where someone gets thrown into a glass case, and he's like bleeding all over the place. I was like, holy shit, dude.
It's intense.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So in this game, the shot clock at one point says it's 62-62, and then there's 37 seconds left on the clock. So I have a question for you. What are the odds of both teams having 62 points apiece with 37 seconds left? Is that like a feasibly realistic thing that could happen in a game? I don't watch a lot of sports, so
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, in high school, I think they're like, if you have two crappy schools, it's probably be lower scoring than that. But
What
decent team.
what are the different point values in basketball? Is it 2 and 3 or?
You got 2 and 3, and then in NBA Jam, when you activate the hotspots,
Yeah.
the 7 point 7 pointers.
And then the foul shots are like 1 point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so after the big after the big win of the game, they find Dennis Hopper outside in the cold with his gun laying down. Like, he didn't shoot himself. I think he like got super drunk with his gun and his dog and went outside, and like it's just really cold out. So he's like passed the fuck out outside, like I did when I smoked all those cigars, and I told you guys that's to leave me.
Did we skip the part where the one kid shoots the granny shots?
No,
Okay.
because that's coming up here. Sorry,
Okay.
or not sorry. I'm not sorry for
I'm
that. So Dennis Hopper is in prison for being out in the cold. Or, wait, no, did I say prison? I meant hospital.
Send him to prison. He's a drunk.
They sent him to prison because he's like hurt.
He got too cold. Send him to prison.
He's sick. Fucking send him to prison. So he's sobering up and he's like crying and apologizing for relapsing. And Gene Hackman is like, "Come on, you're an alcoholic. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a disease." And like, I mean, pretty much he doesn't say that, but like, he's like apologizing. He's like, "I really fucked up. I really messed up. I'm sorry." And he's like, "Dude, you don't have anything to be ashamed of. Don't worry about it." And it's like another emotional scene because it's like, holy shit,
Definitely.
Yeah. So they were the sectional final winners, and now they're on to the regional finals. So Gene Hackman gives a speech, which I will now recite a part of. "If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. In my book, we're going to be winners." Okay, so then after that, they all start golf clapping, and it like cuts to some goofy looking motherfucker with like, he's one of the like other people that have no names that are like an assistant coach maybe, but he just appeared here, and I think there was maybe a cut scene or something, because later in the movie, like on the next game, he like is with like a preacher and gives like a fucking line from the Bible. So I don't know if he's like a fucking priest or something. I mean, I guess you don't have to be a priest to read a Bible verse, but like it's just some random dude that has like fucking like a long mow haircut. That's weird. So it seems that the claps were getting them hyped up, but towards the end it just sounds like a banshee wailing, and he's like, "Let me hear it," and they're like, and I'm like, huh? So
most teams get psyched.
Yeah, they turn into fucking it's
Altered beast.
they turn into Irish or Scottish cryptids. So there's a problem player, and he tells Buddy to stick to him, and by the end of the game he wants to know what flavor he's like going to be, and I was like, is he gonna fucking lick him or what? So Ollie keeps getting like effed up, and like he's getting his okay, so this is the part we were talking about, like the wimp kid where he like fucking he gets a second set of free throws and he's throwing the ball underhanded. So yeah, I didn't know if you had anything to like add.
Well, yeah, it made me think of when I was a kid on the basketball team and I was too physically weak to like get the ball to the rim from the free throw line.
So you had to underhand it?
I had either that or I'd have to do a jump shot, which is not illegal.
It's not illegal? Or it's not legal?
It's not legal. So I was that kid. But also, like, the fact that he couldn't even hit the rim, like, he didn't even come close. Like, you got to kick that guy off the team. Like,
he didn't come close until, like, this last two shots when he, like, actually made the basket somehow, and I was like, huh. Not only that, but, like, well, my thing is, like, I don't remember seeing him in any of the other games. Like, if he's just on, like, a bench warmer, like, was he just not doing anything during the practices? Even though I saw him doing shit, like what? How could he still be that bad? That's like you were saying in like Drumline, like the movie or whatever, or what? Not Drumline, but what's it called? Whiplash, where like nobody would be off that tempo if they were a drummer and they had gotten to like college
at the best music school,
right? Because it's like, I could see if maybe he wasn't, like, he had horrible accuracy and he was maybe not good at making shots, but, like, he didn't even have the fundamental to throw the ball correctly. He had to, like, underhand the ball. Like, It was, like, granny throw or some shit. Yeah, anyway. So, they go into more depth about him hitting his best player in college, and then they kiss. So...
Well, hang on. I love the part after that game. They're like interviewing the kid who made. Am I skipping ahead again?
No. I think that's right. Yeah.
He's like, I knew I would make it.
Oh yeah.
And then Gene Hackman just happens to walk by, and he's like, really? That cracked me up.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Even Gene Hackman's like, wait a minute, what?
He's like, okay. So Dennis Hopper is in the hospital and his son comes to see him and he says that like, wait, what? And he says that a couple, oh, cool. So so sometimes when my notes are fucked up, I use, like speech to text. So I'll say Dennis Hopper is in the hospital and his son comes to see him. And it's supposed to say, he says that in a couple months, but he says that a couple buds. I was like, what the fuck? So I apologize if there's ever any, like, me wondering what the fuck's going on with my notes. So he says in a couple months, when you get out of here, we're going to get a house together. And he says, I love you, Dad. And then, like, he says, go kick their butts. I couldn't believe it. It was another emotional scene. So they get to the final state championship gym, and Gene Hackman does something that I thought was brilliant. He gets out like a measuring tape and measures from the hoop to the shot line, and then from the floor to the basket, and says, I think you'll find the measurements are the exact same in our gym as they are here. And then, like, as soon as he says that, they all start, like, smiling and stuff. So, like, I feel like they were so, kind of, like, overwhelmed that they weren't ready for that. So that was a pretty smart thing to do. There was also a part where, like, as they're leaving, Gene Hackman, like, turns to this other random fucker that's like maybe one of the parents or something, but it's like he's been with him the whole time, but he literally has no role in the movie. And he says, it is pretty big in here. And the guy has no fucking reaction. It's like when you're walking next to somebody at a convention and it's like a nerd fucking says something to you and you're like, dude, I don't want to talk to you. You just kind of smile and like walk on. That kind of a thing. Like Gene Hackman was like the dude nobody wanted to talk to in that scene. Because the guy had no reaction. He was like, get me the fuck out of here. More likely though, the other guy literally had no lines and it's like he probably didn't know what to say. So, or they didn't write him anything to say, I guess. I don't know. So Gene Hackman has a blackboard up, and it's supposed to say no penetration, but it's spelled pentraction, so no penetration, or it's penetrae. So there's an extra letter. It's either after penetration. It's either like, how you spell penetration, penetration. They either put a C after the A, or they put an E after it. It's on, like, it's right when they start that scene. You can see it clear as day. And I was like, okay, well, somebody didn't know how to spell fucking penetration on the set. So Gene Hackman says, I love you. Or wait, what?
Yeah, he tells the team.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was wondering what the fuck. I was like, Gene Hackman says, I love you guys. Then it cuts to team. Oh, because they say that. He's like, I love you guys. And then they're like, team! And I'm like, Jesus! But they're like before all this, before they start off, they actually, it's funny because he's like he actually gives his big speech in the one before this because they never thought they were going to make it to the state championships. So like, not that they didn't think they were going to, but he was like, you know, don't even think about that shit, like, you know. But he's like, pretty much he gives his like ending speech in his second fucking like in his semifinal thing. So like, he's like, guys, the time for big speeches are over. I really don't have anything big to say, you know. Does anybody else want to say anything? And people say some stuff, and then he just, you know, he's like, I love you guys, and then he says that, and then they're like, team. But I thought that was kind of interesting because most sports movies, almost all of them are like, they have these huge speeches that the coach gives at the very end, you know, because they never know that that's going to be the end, you know. It's the very, very end. Like they could have like had this awesome speech they were saving for the championships, and then they get kicked out in the semifinals. They never do that. I thought that was kind of interesting. But, so they're in the championship game, and so after a speech, because of them playing bad, they get back into the game, and Jimmy has the ball, and he kind of fakes out like another team player, but the dude jumps so high that like in the air, like legit, he straight up goes like straight up in the air. That like even if he was trying to like pump fake and do like an actual shot instead of like run the ball, he wouldn't have blocked it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the dude literally became like a rocket and went straight up in the air. I was like, do you remember this part? Or
I do remember that. I mean, it was like the most extreme fake
right
out of all time. Like he literally like went to the moon.
Right. I was like, the guy was like, woo! I was like, okay.
It was like an NBA Jam dunk where like he hit the rack.
Right. So, do you have anything to say before like because I have like my next note is like they end up winning the game.
I've hit all my notes.
Okay.
I've hit all my notes. The only other thing is I think like the first half of this movie is a little bit more interesting to me than the second half, just because there's so much basketball action. I
think that's like a lot of sports movies for me. I agree, because I feel like, as well, not a lot, but like most of them, when it comes to movies that have like a lot of like gameplay, because like if it's a montage, that's fine, but sometimes if it shows like a lot of like games, yeah, it's kind of like game scene, like that kind of a thing in this, like towards the last part of this movie. So they end up winning the game, the state championship, and it's showing everybody, you know, celebrating, and they're happy except for the team that lost, and Dennis Hopper is in his hospital room and he's like flipping out. Okay, so then it cuts to the person that hired Dennis, like his friend, like the principal who wasn't supposed to be at basketball games because of his heart, and he kisses his wife, and they're fucking at the basketball game.
Oh, well, I guess he'd recover.
And I'm like, are you a fucking ghost? Because you weren't supposed to go to any other basketball games because of his heart condition.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Maybe he just didn't want to deal with Dennis Hopper or with Gene Hackman's bullshit anymore, so he faked it.
Or maybe he had a death wish.
That's true. With Charles Bronson. This film really deserves a proper film restoration, I feel like. I watched it and I thought that it looked good, but I feel like it definitely deserves more. Like there's a special edition of it, but I don't know. I felt like there needed to be more.
Yep, good looking movie.
So we're gonna go ahead and go through a couple things here, some choice things I got off IMDb and a couple other sites as far as for a new segment here after the movie's completely over, for like flubs and goofs and stuff like that. So we got just a couple of them here. You might know these, Matt, you might not. So in the movie, when Coach takes Raid out of the first game for not following the 4 pass rules, in the next shot he's actually playing again.
For shame.
Yeah. During the first practice, after Coach Dale dismisses 2 players from the team, they do drills with 5 players, then a 2-man passing drill with 6 players, then another drill with 5 players. So, like, one of the players fucking appears again, and then fucking... During a practice session, Coach Dale's shirt goes from white to blue to white again. When Coach Dale first arrives at the principal's office, his tie alternates between tied and undone. Everett Flatch cuts his shoulders open in that one scene we were talking about, and Coach Dale benches him, and the next shot he's visible on the court. When Coach Dale talks to Jimmy outside, Jimmy is shooting baskets and his jacket is on the ground. When Coach Dale walks away, Mira watches him from the school and Jimmy's jacket has disappeared. When Shooter's son visits him in the hospital, the clock on the wall reads 9:50. After the conversation that lasts a few minutes, the clock still reads 9:50 at the end of the scene. Okay, and so we actually have...
I hardly ever noticed stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen this movie like 5 times and I would never notice it.
I noticed that one thing, though, which I thought was kind of weird. But I don't know. I think it's probably if you're going through the movie and being super critical, yeah. But, like, I just find fun. I try to find funny stuff. Like, you know, I'm not, like, super... Here's some more ticky-tacky stuff. We got 2 more. One is, like, historical inaccuracy. I thought this was more so interesting. But, like, in the the last basketball scene in the movie at the state finals, the backboards have padded edges, and backboard padding wasn't added until, like, years after the movie's, like, setting.
Oh, nice.
Which I thought was pretty interesting. And then the last thing is a character error. So, during the vote to get rid of, or, like, to keep or get rid of the coach, they take a revote. They ask those who want to keep the coach, then who are opposed. An old man mouths something, which is assumed to say nay, and he looks upset, but he appears happy when the coach stays. So I guess, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of a... Like, those townspeople turned around pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I agree.
Too quick. Like, they were so adamant in wanting to get rid of him, and then a minute later, it's like, woo!
It's a little too quick. Yeah, a little too raff. So our next week's movie, we actually already got our recommendation yesterday from somebody, Matt.
Oh, man.
So are you ready for this?
Better be good. I don't know. It better be good.
Okay. So, let me pull it up here. Give me 1 second here. Our next movie, if I can fucking find the actual thing here. Oh, wait, here it is. Okay. So, next week's movie, which is nominated by Son of Darrell, our friend Eric, used points last night to redeem these.
I know he'll make a good choice.
Yes. So, what the fuck? I took a picture of it on my phone last night, and now I can't fucking find it. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Sorry, excuse the profanity, even though I've been fucking saying it all night and I just did it again. I have a problem, sorry. Is the movie Real Men. Have you heard of this movie before or seen it?
I think so.
So this movie is filmed in 1987, but it stars Jim Belushi, John Ritter.
Huh.
So we'll be watching Real Men. I've never heard of this movie before and have never seen it. So this will be interesting for both of us. Because I'm not shitting on him, but I don't watch a lot of Jim Belushi movies. And sadly, John Ritter, in my feeling, wasn't in enough stuff before he passed away. He was probably one of the greatest physical comedians to ever live.
Definitely.
Along with what is it? Life. Who's the guy in Life is Beautiful?
Roberto Benigni.
Yeah, he's one of the... Man, when I saw him in that movie, I was like, dude, this guy is like one of the greatest fucking physical comedians I've ever seen. He hasn't been in enough shit, I feel like. Anyway, okay, so I think that's it. Is there anything else that you have to say about this movie, or anything else? Anything you... next, like I said, next movie is Real Men, next Saturday. People can still give us topics to talk about during the week. You can even, I guess, ask us questions about things we've talked about in past, or even on this podcast, like why we felt one way or another about something. Do you have anything to add to this, Nathaniel?
My final thoughts are, who's your daddy?
Yeah, my final thoughts are, fuck Space Jam. It is the worst movie, and if you think otherwise, you're gonna suck it. What? You just talk like that for the rest of your life. What? I'm like, and
It was fun talking about Hoosiers. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Discussion.
I mean, there were no Looney Tunes in it, but, you know, what can you do? Gene Hackman can't win them all.
I'll be losing.
Yeah, damn it! You frickin' got me again, Matthew. What the fuck? I'm like, what are you gonna watch next? Whatever the fuck I want.
Actually not. We gotta watch
true.
now.
Yeah, I actually like this format though. I like that.
Good.
I like that people are picking what we talk about and watch because, as I was saying last night on the stream, that like I like us picking out stuff, but literally it would just be stuff we either really liked and have already seen, and they're, you know, I don't know. I feel like there's not as much room for us to talk about stuff there. I mean, there is, but you know, if like one of us said, "Hey, let's watch," you know, I do think though that we're gonna have to cover like some of the movies we've seen before. Like we're gonna have to cover the fucking like, what is it called? Those zombie movies we saw that were like horrible. The fucking Night of the, what are they called? They're just called like zombie. It's like Attack of the Birds or something. Bird flesh eaters. Like, watch those again. Try to and talk about how bad they are. Maybe they're not worth talking about. They're pretty bad, honestly. Unless somebody nominates them.
Good idea. But we'll see.
Yeah.
If the nominations keep coming in.
We'll watch whatever you nominate, except for a fucking porno. I won't watch a porno and review it on fucking stream.
Or Space Jam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if somebody nominates it, sorry, Matt. Actually, don't nominate Space Jam because then Matt will watch it and it'll be an hour and 30 minutes of him shitting on a movie. Even though I guess have I already done that before? Have I already done that? Yeah, true. Have I done that before in a movie we've watched? Shit on a movie completely?
You were pretty harsh on Wicker Man.
Was I? I think I was maybe harsh on like I don't know, I wasn't listening. I think I was mainly like harsh on like maybe the people in that movie, the way they acted. I don't know, I can't remember. It's only been a couple weeks, but fucking go back and watch it because I've completely forgot.
You called someone the C word in this episode.
Yeah, they were. They were being a bastard to fucking Nick. Gene Hackman.
All right.
So, okay. Final thoughts. You said, fucking, who's your daddy? Yeah. And that's how you like to live your life, huh?
I blew it.
Another fucking Dr. Evil quote. Okay.
All right. See ya.
See ya, man. We'll see you guys next week. Bye. I'll be back in a couple minutes.